This week on CityView, new crosswalks, safer ways to cross the street are on the way, plus storm readiness, staying safer during a downpour. And the fountain's back. Butler Park experiences a revival. Welcome to CityView. I'm your host, Larry Schooler. The Public Works and Watershed Protection Departments are working together on several storm drain improvement projects throughout the city. Improvements include installation of storm drain pipes and curbside inlets that will help increase flood protection and reduce the threat of flooding. We visited the Allendale Storm Drain Improvement Project construction site to get a closer look at what projects like this entail.
Until you actually see it, it's hard to imagine what it takes to put a big box culvert down in the street like what we're doing here.
This storm drain project is an example of a rather large project that the city does. We have 8x6 culverts going in the ground about 20 feet deep. This work zone can block off driveways, access to sidewalks. The City of Austin has some old storm drain systems that were built around the turn of the century. The technology is advanced significantly. However, the older systems don't have the capacity that we need now. And so the City of Austin is going back into the neighborhoods with the deficient storm drain systems, increasing the size of the pipes, the number of inlets along the street so that we capture more of the flow before it can cause a flooding situation in neighborhoods. Big projects take big equipment.
A lot of times people ask us how long we're going to be there.
The large size of the equipment necessitates rather slow progress in some cases because it moves slowly as it excavates deep.
We understand that it's a large inconvenience and we try to minimize that as much as possible.
During the construction process of a storm drain, we also have to contend with the location of other utilities such as water and wastewater. So the contractor has to be careful of those utilities, not to break them, and that slows down the construction process.
For some areas of this neighborhood, we'll see the real benefit of this whole storm drain project, but unfortunately, there's some of the people that didn't have a large drainage problem, but they're still being affected by the construction because the storm drain box culvert has to go from point A to point B, and if you're in that area, that construction still has to take place to get the complete line put in.
The city appreciates the cooperation of the affected residents while we work on this important project. There are multiple ways to stay informed on the status of the Allendale project. To be added to the project update email list, contact Stephanie Lott at 974-2799 or at stephanie.lott@ci.austin.tx.us. Updates can also be found at our website at this address, austintexas.gov. As you may have already seen around town, the city is using new signalized crosswalks to create a safer pedestrian environment when crossing the street. Unlike regular painted crosswalks, lights above the crossing act as a traffic signal and are designed to better catch drivers' attention and improve safety. Here's how they work.
A pedestrian hybrid beacon is a new tool in the traffic engineer's toolbox to provide a safer way for pedestrians to cross the street. It's similar to a traffic signal, but there are a lot of subtle differences. It's only activated when someone actually needs to cross the street.
Walk sign is on.
As opposed to a regular traffic signal that is on all the time. It's either green, yellow, red. A pedestrian would walk up, push the button,
Wait.
and then activate the beacon, and it tells traffic to be prepared to stop and then to actually stop, and gives the pedestrian the legal right-of-way to cross the street safely. A motorist sees the pedestrian hybrid beacon, and appropriately responds by stopping. We're seeing that behavior increase by 90% or better at locations across the country.
So far, the city has 14 of these crosswalks, and we're adding one soon at Congress Avenue and Leland. The city will continue to use crossings like these to improve safety throughout the city. Now it's time for a council update from Taja Beakley.
One of the city's most popular public spaces is getting some attention. The Austin City Council voted today to complete a park master plan for the area bounded by South 1st Street, Barton Springs Road, Lady Bird Lake, and Lee Barton Drive, which includes Auditorium Shores. Council wants to review options for construction and maintenance of the parkland and for increasing nearby parking to support the Long Center and Palmer Event Center. In 1998, Austin voters approved a car rental tax to fund development of Palmer, the parking facilities, and related parkland. Also, Council approved additional funding for juvenile crime prevention services. The funding goes to the nonprofit organization Theater Action Project, which will extend the delivery of 3 summer programs in July and August. Their interactive programs help elementary and middle school students identify and overcome barriers to success, stop bullying, and study creative arts. And Council authorized a 2-year contract with Public Access Community Television, otherwise known as Channel Austin, for the development and production of programming for public access TV and community media. The City Council has allocated 3 channels for public access. State law changes meant that fees from cable companies could only cover capital costs, not operating expenses, so funding for this 2-year contract is higher than previous years. Lastly, Council heard a presentation on the selection of Austin for the Formula One United States Grand Prix competition and possible support for the event. A $4 million local match is required for the project, which will be funded by the race organizers. The city would not be expected to contribute any existing funds. Council anticipates taking action later this month on its participation in the state's Major Events Trust Fund for Formula One. In all, Council considered 59 items at its June 9th meeting, and its next regularly scheduled meeting is June 23rd. For CityView, I'm Taja Beakley.
The popular Liz Carpenter Fountain in Butler Park reopened on Memorial Day following upgrades to the fountain's filtration system. Prior to closing, the fountain's popularity strained its filtration system to the point that the city had to shut it down frequently. In December, parks officials decided to close the fountain and upgrade its components to accommodate larger crowds. During the fountain's downtime, the Parks and Recreation Department installed additional sand filters, replaced pumps and motors, and installed an ultraviolet disinfection system. Aside from providing parkgoers with a cool, safe, and healthy playscape, the improvements increased park staff's efficiency by decreasing maintenance visits from several times a week to once or twice a month. The Liz Carpenter Fountain is open on Mondays from noon to 10 and 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. For more information on the park, log on to austintexas.gov/parks. The City of Austin recently kicked off Take Heart Austin Week in conjunction with National CPR Awareness Week. Present at the event were cardiac arrest survivors, their rescuers, caregivers, family, friends, and area dignitaries. We were there to capture one of the stories of survival.
If we increase this cardiac arrest survival rate by 1%, that means 6 more people and their families join us in this room next year.
This week is a National CPR Awareness Week, and we've timed this to coincide with our Take Heart Austin initiative, which is our survivor celebration for those people who survived cardiac arrest within the last year. The nice part about the Take 10 program is this innovative program takes only 10 minutes. It's very focused. It focuses solely on adult CPR, compression only, no breaths, so it's safe, simple, easy to do, but you can learn it in just 10 minutes and walk away, and the very next day you could save someone's life with it.
Out of 100 patients that have sudden cardiac arrest, only 2% survive. My 2% is now home and on his way to recovery.
March 22nd, 2010, my husband collapsed in Kung Fu class of a massive heart attack, a 99% blockage of his LAD, and with the help of 2 bystanders, CPR was administered immediately, and he survived. He's here today to tell us the story.
If we can have somebody on the spot begin giving help right away, as opposed to just calling on the telephone and getting somebody to come out, we can triple survival rates.
To learn how to access CPR courses, and in particular the Take 10 program, or to learn about the Take Heart Austin initiative, you can go to takeheartaustin.org, and it has information both about the Take 10 CPR program and how to take that program and take that back to your own community and teach it to your community yourself.
City and county officials recently announced Austin-Travis County as a storm-ready community. Storm-ready communities are better prepared to save lives during severe weather events through increased planning, education, and awareness campaigns. The National Weather Service designated the City of Austin as storm-ready based on 6 categories related to weather monitoring, communications, public warning, and community preparedness. Some factors considered included effective and immediate communications, multiple means to receive weather service warnings, the ability to monitor hydrometeorological data, educational campaigns that promote severe weather preparedness, and proactive administration for hazardous weather events.
A week ago today, several of us stood out on the street on Shoal Creek Boulevard, 3900 block, to talk about what happened on that day years ago, back in 1981, the Memorial Day flood. At that time, the city of Austin was not storm ready. The result of not being storm ready was that 13 people lost their lives, 19 homes were swept off their foundations, and over $35 million in property damage was incurred as a result of that storm that dumped 10 inches of rain on the city of Austin within 2.5 hours. During that event, we had emergency responders out there in their street clothes. Some of them still had ties on, and they were rescuing people in water that was over their heads by throwing them a garden hose. We are much better off today as a result of learning the lessons of that flood event, and we will remain so.
To find out more about the City of Austin's emergency operations, visit the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management website at austinhsem.com. That's all for this episode of CityView. The next episode premieres on June 24th at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 6 and online. Thanks for watching.